What's the worst episode of a good TV show ever made? When Eric went to Africa and was replaced by Randy in that 70s show. Whatever the episode of Dexter where we first realized Deb wants to F her bro. Or the lumberjack finale. That first episode of Too Many Cooks. Almost didn't make it through even the intro. That episode of Blue's Clues where Steve went to college. That one episode of Stranger Things where Eleven went to some shit city to hang out with the most stereotypical shit goons that reeked of them playing at a lame spin-off attempt. The TNG episode where Dr. Crusher has sex with a Scottish ghost. The one episode of Lost that explains where Jack got his tattoo. Season 3 episode Stranger in a Strange Land. When Fonzie jumped the shark. Series finale of Dexter. Felt insanely rushed. Dexter didn't behave the way we as viewers know he would behave and they just ended it in a terrible way. I was furious. That was 10 years ago and I'm still furious. The last episode of The Man in the High Castle. It's almost as if they never planned an ending and just rushed it all in the last 20 minutes. What a waste of a series. Those Beth in the hospital episodes in The Walking Dead. Where do I start with Game of Thrones final season? When Tyra killed a guy and Landry hid the body in Friday Night Lights. Silly writer's strike. Grey's Anatomy musical episode. If I Lay Here. Uck? I'll get hate for liking The Big Bang Theory, but the episode where Sheldon can't figure out why his equations or some shit isn't working out, and has to keep visualizing electrons and other atoms with food and other stuff, until he discovers electrons act as particles and waves. Every basic college level physics class explains this and he, a genius holding several degrees, needs peace to help him have this scientific breakthrough. Pisses me off. Doctor Who. The moon is an egg. Don't remember the actual name of the episode. Popular shows making PSAs very special episodes is very common. But Mother of God, what the fuck was going on when Joss wrote Beer Bad for Buffy? That episode of Smallville with a zombie outbreak was pretty bad and I felt like it only existed to capitalize on the popularity of zombie fiction at the time. Game of Thrones' last episode was a painful disaster. The couch episode of Bob's Burgers. It's like 75 fine then throws this entirely unearned ending at you and pieces out. That episode of Stranger Things where Elle meets with other gifted people and then the series does nothing with this. The series finale of Game of Thrones. Yeah, I know it's beating a dead horse, we all hate that finale, but it's insane to sit back and think about how GOT was really the last worldwide phenomenon on TV, like as popular as Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul or Squid Game or whatever else has been since they don't touch GOT numbers at its peak. That movie had the world waiting for every episode, and they fucked it up so bad. The Netflix seasons of Arrested Development. The Fox seasons were some of the best TV ever. Maybe 1-2 jokes from Netflix can stand next to the Fox seasons. First episode of the last season of Brooklyn 99. Too much. Rosa quitting and becoming a pothead and Jake becoming a bully were not endings we needed. That one X-Files where Kathy Griffin has an evil doppelganger and Tex Cobb shows up and Mulder gets sucked into a manhole. Final episode of Chuck. Any 80s or 90s sitcom flashback episode where they just play clips from earlier episodes as a total cop-out. Beverly Crusher Candle Fucker. The episode of 24 where Jack Bauer eats a bad tuna sandwich and spends the entire rest of the episode having to rush to the bathroom. Seinfeld, the dog. The Golden Girls one with Rita Moreno. Where they tried to force a spin-off to happen. Basically it opens with Rose and Sophia talking about some people you've never heard of. Then we go to those people's house and the main characters leave us there, with these strangers, for the rest of the episode. Confusing and bad. Later episodes of that 70s show. Fez become more of a metrosexual pervert that was borderline creepy. When Ross wanted to bang his cousin Denise Richards in Friends. It will always be clip shows. First one that I ever saw was an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. It was season 2. There are so many bad episodes of The Simpsons and I'm sure I've seen worse, but the one that makes me the most angry is the episode where Homer has to donate his kidney to save Grandpa's life. Homer causes Grandpa's kidneys to explode by refusing to stop the car to go to the bathroom, which is already a Looney Tunes level of bullshit, even for The Simpsons. He agrees to give Grandpa a kidney, but after finding out that there is risk involved and that he won't be able to drink anymore, he cowards out and escapes the hospital. This happens 2 more times, each time Homer running away whimpering while his father is left to die. It's okay for Homer to be afraid and have doubts, but normally his deep down good nature and love for his family always wins out. In this episode, it never does. Grandpa only gets a kidney after Homer gets crushed by a truck and they take it without his consent in yet another Looney Tunes moment. The whole episode just abandons any redeemable characteristics Homer has and renders him a sniveling coward. The last episode of Ozark. Ruth was way too smart to let herself be set up and killed like that. Pissed me right off, such a great character would go down that way and ruin the episode for me. The horrible Chatterbox episode from The Nanny. I later found out it's something referred to as a backdoor pilot. I still loathe that episode and refuse to watch it. The Numbers Don't Know the Exact Name episode of Rick and Morty, Season 7. Holy fuck, I have never seen something so painfully unfunny in my life. Him Show Finale. The last episode of Star Trek Enterprise. Letterkenny's Fart Book. The episode of Ted Lasso telling you to delete nudes. A valid message but delivered poorly like an after-school special. The episode of Ted Lasso where we find out that his old couples therapist who convinced his ex-wife that she needed space away from Ted is now dating said ex-wife. It completely undermines one of the major messages of the first 2 seasons, which was that therapy is important and nothing to be ashamed of. Now they tell their audience that if you go to therapy there's a chance that your shrink will manipulate your wife into leaving you for him. The worst part though is that nothing is made of the massive obvious ethical violations that accompany a therapist dating their ex-patient. Instead the show thinks that Ted's arc over the season should be learning to be okay with it. The African Death Match episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Code of Honor is up there. Clone Wars Season 7 Spice Runner arc. Roseanne, she won the lottery and got kidnapped by terrorists.